was born with 2 vaginas. And this is her very first talk show appearance ever. The world exclusive interview. You have 2 periods?
My periods generally last for about 21 days.
When you have a pap smear, you have to get 2. Yes. Which one did you have sex with? What does it look like?
Go on, have a look.
Tyra starts now. International exclusive. Lauren is a medical phenomenon, and this is her very first talk show appearance ever. Lauren was born with 2 of something that most of us ladies have only 1 of. Lauren was born with 2 vaginas. 2 vaginas. Please welcome Lauren, everybody. I was thinking, like, it's already tough enough having 1 vagina.
Yes.
And you have 2.
Yes.
So, okay, that means 2 of everything?
In my case, yes, it does.
So 2 periods?
I think so, because my periods generally last for about 21 days. So
21 days?
They start off really heavy, peter out, and then restart again, and then stop for 7 days.
Really?
Because I've got 2 uteruses.
You've got 2 uteruses?
Yes.
Do you have 4 fallopian tubes?
No, just 1 to each.
1 to each.
Mm-hmm. And then they go down into 2 cervixes, and then it did go down into the 2 vaginas,
2
all internal,
vaginas.
nothing outside.
Wow. Okay. When did you realize that you had 2 vaginas?
It was only diagnosed when I was about 25. Before then, when I was a teenager, I had really heavy periods that last for about 3 days, and I'd have to change pads every hour or so.
Every hour?
Yeah. So the doctor got me to have an ultrasound, and he thought that I had what's called a bicornate uterus, which is 1 uterus with just a septum, a bit of flesh down the middle that splits it into 2. So we weren't very worried about it. I went on the contraceptive injection to stop my periods, basically, and yeah, and then it sort of went from there.
Now, what about sex?
It's fine.
It's fine. Was there 1 vagina in front of the other?
No, they're sort of side by side. So you wouldn't notice. It's just the one vagina, and then a little further up, kind of a split where it then went off into the 2 uteruses.
Which one did you have sex with?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Do you
I think whatever one was.
So sometimes this one and sometimes that one? What did your boyfriend say?
No one noticed.
They didn't notice. They didn't notice. Oh, it's a little different today.
No one ever said.
Wow. Okay. What about, like, tampons?
Tampons were a problem, but once again, I tried them out when I was younger, when I first started my periods, and they say to you, some girls don't get on with them, and you're supposed to not know they're there. I knew they were there.
You knew they were there.
And also, I still bled through them, which is probably because it was only one side and not the other.
I love that you're talking about your 2 vaginas. I think it's fascinating.
I've told so many friends.
Okay, so the gynecologist discovered that you had 2. I understand that the gynecologist and the nurse, they kind of were like, oh my gosh, can I see 2?
Yeah, so what happened was I went over to the gynecologist, and there were 4 people in the room. I had my gynecologist, a student doctor, the lovely nurse, and like the nurse stroke secretary. It was fine, I didn't mind. I went, laid on the bed, got ready, and the doctor came to have a little look and said, it's interesting. Called the student doctor over to have a look. So I was like, he asked if that was all right, and I was like, go ahead, they have to learn. So he came to have a little look.
So you let them learn on you?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, someone's got to learn. We've got to learn at some point. So he had a look, and then the little secretary stroke nurse was hovering that end, so she had a
You
little
said,
look.
come on over.
Why not? And then my nurse, it was like a comedy scenario, was laying down, looked up at her, she looked at me, and I was like, go on, have a look. She went down and had it, so 4 of them all having a
We're
little
looking at you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the doctor said that he was going to give you some type of surgery.
Yes, so he originally thought it was the one uterus with the septum down the middle.
Yes.
So the surgery was going to be cauterising, sort of cutting and burning that bit away, just because if you've got one uterus that's halved, then there's no room for babies to grow. So
Yes.
if you want to get pregnant, you're going to have problems. So he thought, sort it out now,
Okay.
because I'm getting on a bit, and I might want to get pregnant at one point in the future.
How old are
and
you?
then I'm 29.
29.
Yeah.
You're not getting on a bit. You're still a baby.
Stop it.
Yes, you are. So he was going to make the vagina one vagina.
Well, at this point, they didn't realise. I can only assume that there was like a dominant one.
A dominant vagina and a
yeah.
recessive.
Yeah, sort of, you know, maybe one squidged over a bit that they
Got
hadn't
it.
noticed for some reason.
Got it.
Because he still thought it was the bicornate uterus, so he thought he was going in to remove this middle septum, and then job done, it's all over with. But when I woke up from the surgery, the next day I had a little bouncing doctor on the end of my bed saying, it's not what we thought it was. Oh, it's exciting.
He was
And-
excited?
Yeah, he was. He was like, "Doo, doo, doo." Yeah, he was super excited. He had little students with him, and it was good fun. And he sat down and said, "Okay, well, we found that you don't have a bicornate uterus." And I was like, "Oh, right, okay. You've got 2 of them." And I was like, "Oh, right." And he said, "Not only have you got 2 of them, you've got 2 cervixes." And I was like, "Right, weird, but fine." And then he went, "But you had 2 vaginas." I was just like, "Oh, you funny." So,
So you were never upset, never
no,
like.
I'm more sort of incredulous, slightly amused by it
I
all.
find that
but
amazing.
Yeah, well, at that point he turned around and said, "Oh, you had 2 vaginas, but we've removed the septum of the
That
vagina."
was separating.
Yeah.
I understand that you had a fear with that.
I had a little fear.
What was your
well,
fear?
The fear would be if you found out that you had 2 vaginas, and then they remove the middle bit, then you can only imagine that now you've got one huge vagina. Still a little bit groggy from my anaesthetic. I wasn't terribly impressed by that bit of news, but it's fine.
But it's fine. Nice size.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, what does it look like?
From the outside, well, you wouldn't know
Okay.
anything. Yeah, it's just there's not 2 of everything on the outside because.
But on the inside, you
Yeah.
can see now.
Yeah.
And how is sex now?
Yes, it's still good. There's, it's feels pretty much the same. The only difference would be that, and it is a symptom of it, that some positions, like being on top, can be uncomfortable.
Oh, it can hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's okay now, but
So when you have a pap smear now, because the
Yes.
pap smear, they take a long cotton swab and they wipe the cervix.
Yeah.
You have to get 2?
2, yeah,
You
A
have
and
to get
B.
A and B.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. How does pregnancy work?
So the doctor in England said that pregnancy-wise, it should be okay, apart from the 21-day period. So there's obviously some time limit in which to try for things. But if I do get pregnant, it should push the other uterus over to one side and just keep that one out of the way. But me and my partner would need to carry on using condoms just in case I got pregnant in the other one.
So you're the only pregnant woman that can get pregnant while getting pregnant?
Yeah. I know.
Wow.
Could you imagine?
That is.
3 months apart.
What
child's
about,
ages.
well, women have twins. What about getting pregnant in the other one?
I think if I did get pregnant in the other one, if it was at the same time, then presumably it would be okay. They'd probably have to keep an eye on me anyway, just because. But I assume they'd just grow to their normal little sizes and maybe not have the bond that a twin would have because they're not together.
Because they're not together.
Yeah.
Dr. Alana Levine is here to tell us more about Lauren's condition. So take us through what her reproductive system looks like. the comparison.
So this is a normal reproductive system. You can see there are two ovaries here. This is the uterus into the cervix, and that's the vagina.
Yes.
Okay. And here's hers. So the septum that she's talking about is this line right here dividing her uterus into two. So it gives two uteruses, two cervix here, and the line extends down into the vagina. Now it doesn't go all the way down. That's why externally she looks normal and nobody could really tell during routine exams. But when you look sort of further into it, then you can see the septum, which is what happened with her in the operating room.
Got it. And so they removed that pink part that's going down into the
Exactly.
vagina.
They removed this bottom part because it's more complicated to remove the septum up here.
Got it.
And because she can still get pregnant and carry a baby in one side, it's better to leave it.
Wow. Thank you so much for telling your story exclusively to us. Thank you.
Up next, where do you rate on the sexy scale?
Carlos, scale of 1 to 10.
I was going to say 10, but there's a mirror outside. I looked at it at 15.
15!
And later, I give you some fabulous tips on how to rock your curves and suck it in.
If you're more full-figured, get a belt and like a little kind of a girdle thing, and then put a belt on top of that, and you prop them up, and you make them look good. Huh? I was thinking about this show today, and we're talking about sexiness and what makes sexy and what is sexy, and you guys know I modeled for over half my life now, probably. I'm retired now, but when I was a model, like, I knew how to turn on that sexy. As soon as that photographer would pick up that camera, I'd bam, 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 work. I could do like the whole thing. But then he'd put the camera down to change film back in the day when they were using film, and I'd be like, and then he'd pick it up again and I'd say, and then he'd put it down again and say, and then I would go on these dates sometimes with guys, so sometimes guys would ask me out, and I'd be sitting at the table, and I wanted to be sexy so badly, but I couldn't. Like, there was just something, I don't know what it was, but I was like held back. Like, I would want to like look at him like this, but I'd be like this, and then like I'd knock my water over and just be really bad. And I went on a double date once with my friend back in the day, and she was telling me this is ridiculous that you can put on some drawers and panties or a evening gown and be sexy, but you can't do it with a guy. So she tried to teach me, and she taught me that you're supposed to like put your elbows on the table and like sink your head into your neck. So like your shoulders are like touching your ears. And then she told me about that corny thing where you take your finger and run it around the glass. You know what I'm talking about? And she did this one thing where she said, you have to toss your head back and laugh, like go. And child, I tried, but the only time I could be sexy is when I put on them drawers and the photographer put up the camera. But anyway, we're gonna find out today about sexiness in terms of looks and personality. How much of it is looks and how much of it is personality? And then we're gonna break down what makes a person hot in our Tyra Show Sexy Scale. How long do you think it takes you to decide if somebody is sexy? How long? Just let me hear you. How long do you think it takes? 10 seconds? 20 seconds? Okay, well, here to give us a scientific answer of how long it takes someone to notice if someone is sexy is the author of Decoding Love and our friend, Andrew Trees. Hi, Andrew. Stand on up. Stand on up. So, what is the answer? How long does it take to find out if somebody is sexy or not, to tell?
The answer is 3 seconds.
3 seconds. The answer is 3 seconds. That fast.
That fast.
Like, And why is that?
Well, there is some truth to the idea of love at first sight, and there are a variety of levels. So one is there are just certain elements of human beauty that are almost hardwired into us at a subconscious level that we respond to immediately. And there's also a chemical level. I interviewed a lot of women, and they said that they could tell when they met a guy almost instantly whether he smelled sexy to them or not.
Really? It's like that animalistic thing that we
Exactly.
can't tell that we're smelling it. And it's not a funk or an allspice.
No, the funk would be bad. That would be bad.
It's the pheromones. Okay, well, we're going to have a little fun with this 3-second rule. We're going to rate 4 people on the sexy scale from 1 to 10. 10 being off the charts, hot, sexy, damn, okay? Now, we're going to check them out body part by body part, but we're only going to get a 3-second peek at each part. First, let's check out body number 1.